You're listening to the Youth Marketing Academy with Ghani Kunto. Stay tuned for your daily dose of insights that matter.
Back in the old days, marketing was like this semi-private cocktail party where marketers can get attention by arriving with some fanfare, dressing a little sexy, and maybe entering the room with a twirl. Or if you're already in the party, maybe you just laugh a little louder and the market would come, curious to see what was so interesting. Today, it's like a 24/7 Mardi Gras. It's so loud and garish and just too much to take for any prolonged period of time. And anybody who has had any experience with youth marketing would tell you that it's not about trying to capture the whole youth market with a series of award-winning campaigns anymore. It's about getting in touch and involving the key influencers in the whole marketing process and partnering with them to get the rest of the market. But who are these influencers? If you're a celebrity, does that make you an influencer? What about if you have thousands of Twitter followers? Does that make you an influencer? And once you've identified these people, how do you exactly get to them? Do you feature them in your ads? Do you get them to blast your content out to their network? So to find out, we got in touch with Chris Burke, one of the youth marketing legends out there. He is the founder of Arnette Sunglasses. He also founded Von Zipper. If you're into skating or surfing or snowboarding, you're probably familiar with these brands, and you might also be familiar with his name already because at one time, before he got into the corporate side of things, he was the US surfing champion. So let's find out from his experiences, who are the influencers, or as he calls them, tastemakers, and how do you get to them?
Like it could be the surfing champion, or it could be the local guy in the retail store who's got the band, and he's not a pro surfer, but he's got his band and he's got his sphere of influence, and he's the cool guy, or it could be the skate guys that are going around doing their own like little sub company. Just the people who have that are just the cool guys on the local level. So it's kind of like the tribe theory. You have the chief, and everybody follows the chief, and then you have. So it's real simple, but it's from a marketing perspective, it's so hard. Well, one, it's almost impossible to tap into that because they are anti-establishment, they are anti-sponsorship. So to get a hold of them is almost impossible. But then once you do, if you do, then you have to speak that language, and then it has to be done very delicately. And that's where the advantage is for somebody who is for a company that's real, and that's from that culture. So you pretty much have to be born and bred into it. Let me touch base on that. Something. Okay, for example, like Shaun White, probably like one of the coolest icons in alternative mindset, and he's did this gum deal with Stride. And it's like in the old days, you wouldn't be able to do that and get away with it. But now you can do that. But that's not the issue. The issue is that it's nobody's going to go out there and buy a piece of gum because of Shaun White's face is on it. The tastemakers aren't, but it's more for the mass market. So it's just kind of one of those things to where it's like. It's a great sponsorship deal, and kudos to that. But to keeping the culture real and being authentic with relating to Shaun White's crowds, it's I don't see that really being the case with that sponsorship.
It sounds like this is not a problem that could be solved with money, is it?
I think there's a gap with companies trying to relate to the kids. My family, the crowd that I'm involved with is the surf, skate, snow crowd. It's pretty much it is fashion, art, music now, but it's kind of it's like the alternative mindset, and we just think different. It's like the subculture. And we have these big brands now trying to relate to them, and it just doesn't work. And you just see it just from a miles away. So that's kind of where I've seen there's all kinds of different little startup companies and these grassroots companies and these pro skaters and surfers and these ex-pro skaters and surfers are starting to start their own brands. And then you have big corporations like Nike acquiring Hurley to get into the market. But it's all about communicating to the kid at the beach or at the skate park or up on the mountain, or the guys just, starting a new band. It's all relating to them. And that's a whole nother mindset. And you really just can't buy that. You either are or you're not. You can't buy it. You really can't learn it. It's a lifestyle play.
By a lifestyle play, you mean you just have to live in it, right? You just have to be part of the scene. You can't buy into it. You can't outsource it or anything like that. Now, this is quite a challenge, actually, especially for brands that are already big when the organization sometimes gets in the way of the people. How did you do it back in your earlier days? How did you stay relevant? How did you make sure that the company stays grounded and knows what's going on in the front line?
We did these revolutionary ideas where we got this mobile home. And now it's like, this is like state of the art. This is like stock standard marketing stuff now. But we were the first company to buy a mobile home and go across the country and visit all the key retailers. And the idea was to take our pro athletes. How are we going to connect our pro athletes to the retailers? Well, get them on a bus, make a movie, and go across the country and surf, skate, and snowboard, depending on which season it was, and go visit the top retailers. Then we sold out to Bosch and Lomb. That was just one of the ventures we did, but we did all these unofficial sponsorships. Like Nike would, we got that idea from Nike with the Olympics, is that they didn't sponsor the Olympics, but they had the big party right on the outside of the Olympics. So we do the same kind of concept, is that we'd be the unofficial sponsor for everything, because we were going against the big giants like Oakley and Ray-Ban and, Varney was big back then, those big corporate sunglass companies. So we were the cool young guys.
Speaking with Chris, Burke brought back memories. I remember buying my first snowboard. Sure, I was aware of the big brands when I entered the store, but it was a pretty big buy for a high school student, so I actually went to the shop several times before I made the purchase, and by then, the big brands didn't matter anymore. I remember the guy at the shop. Now, I don't remember his name, but I remember he had this nose ring. And I remember chatting with him about where would be the best snowboarding spot to hit first. I remember getting specific tips from him because I ride goofy, as in I usually have my right foot in front instead of the left. And at the end of the day, I just followed whatever he told me on which board to get, which bindings, which boots, which goggles, and so on. And you've probably had the same kind of experience buying a bicycle, buying a pair of jeans, opening a bank account, or buying a car. So to recap, yes, people with large visible following have influence over the market, but just as important, we mustn't overlook the frontliners. The kid selling your wares at the store is just as important, if not more important. And to get to them, you have to live and breathe the culture. You have to be immersed in it. And maybe that's hard to do, and maybe that's uncomfortable. Maybe you feel out of place, but that's exactly why you have to do it. You can't outsource this. You have to get out there physically. I know with everything going digital, there might be temptation of just learning about you from behind your desk. Resist. You have to get out there, get to the front line, get immersed, and stay immersed to understand youth marketing. This is Ghani Kunto for Youth Marketing Academy.
Youth Marketing Academy. Get the latest insights at www.youthmarketingacademy.com.